Get out the hemlock, Socrates. Yeah, hour 3 tonight, election night, the Savage Nation. Get out the hemlock, Socrates. Take the gentleman's way out. Because it looks to me like we're going to have 40 more years of corruption. Looks like Junior Dr. Valier is going to win again. I mean, I'm sorry you don't want to hear it. He's got 244 electoral votes already. Old Romney has 193, and yeah, I mean, look, you can see it's going to hinge again on the state of Ohio, Florida. Florida's so close you can get a heart attack looking at it. I've never seen anything like this. How is that possible? How is this possible? Obama has like 35,000 more votes in a state of that size. And how could a country be so divided? How could a country be so divided and be united after this? The nation is more divided than it's been since the 60s, I should say. I wouldn't say more divided than since the Civil War. That would be untrue. The nation is more divided today than it's been since the Vietnam War. I've never seen anything like this since then. It's divided. And on so many social issues, no one cared. 5% of the electorate cared about foreign policy. This loser is the most ineffective president in terms of foreign policy and international on international issues than any modern president, and no one cared about it. Gutted the military. I went through it yesterday. I'm not going to repeat it again and over a rev on it. They cared largely about bread and butter issues. See, things don't really change. That's the thing you got to understand. If you want to take some comfort in any of this, it's that things don't really change that much. Go back to Roman times. Cato the Elder, the historian, he wrote, and I'm going to say it again because many of you didn't hear me the 50th time I said it. They did not care where the legions were in Germania, just as the Americans don't care about foreign policy. They don't care the other guy's son is getting whacked in Afghanistan. They could care less. They don't care. No matter how many fraudulent talk shows wrap themselves in the American flag, they just don't care that the other guy's son is getting killed in Afghanistan. That's the sorry truth. Any more than the average Roman didn't care what happened to the legionnaire over in Germania or in Poland. You know what I'm saying? What they cared about was the pebble in the shoe in ancient Rome. We learn that when you read history. What's the pebble in the shoe? The price of cheese, the price of meat, the price of wheat. That's it. That's all they cared about. So, what does that tell us? It tells us Romney ran the worst campaign in history. Why? Because he didn't sell the idea that it was better on the economy than this loser. Why didn't he sell it? Because he got gutted by that slob, Gingrich. Gingrich cut the guts out of Romney and threw him to the wolves. It was Gingrich who destroyed Romney's credibility as a successful businessman, period. Thank that slob with charisma, that how could anyone, and they have him talking tonight somewhere, with a book that came out with something about, again, George Washington or Jefferson. Why is it the bigger the fraud, the more they talk about the Founding Fathers? The bigger the fraud, the more they go back to the Founding Fathers, like they personally knew them, came from them, are descended from them, shined their shoes, came from their leather, worked in their livery. I've never seen anything like it. They came out with a book about it, Alexander Hamilton. Newt Gingrich, this gutter rat, the man should have been deported for what he did to Romney. So he ripped Romney's guts out, sent him out there, gutted, bleeding, to run against him, and all of the opposition research that Axel Grease would have had to dig up on his own against him on the issue. What was it? Bain Capital. The man's strongest calling card they turned into his weakness. Why? Thank him. Thank Callista Gingrich for that. Thank Mr. Callista Gingrich for having destroyed Romney's chief calling card, which was his success as a venture capitalist with Bain Capital. That Gingrich turned it into a deficit, and Axel Grease ran with it. And that's your take-home message. So get out the hemlock, Socrates. You can thank the Republican Party itself for having destroyed themselves. If, God forbid, what happens looks like it's going to happen. I'm not declaring right now, but it looks to me bad. Very, very bad. Very bad indeed. Very bad indeed. Just unbelievable to me. Guns, God, and the other G. Oh, it's coming. Guns, God, and the other G. It's coming. The phone number here on the Savage Nation, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. The website is michaelsavage.com. I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice. And let me remind you also that moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue. Well, how come we didn't hear that during this campaign? How come we didn't hear any of that from Romney? All we heard was he's a nice guy, and I'm for you, and I love you, and I'm just like him, but I'm different. So what did you want, Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke? Because that's what the election came down to. That's why it's this close. There was really no clear difference on so many issues. To the average moron, that is. For those of us who know about the Fugazi and what he did to the country, yes, there was a clear choice. But for the average moron, he didn't know what was going on. All he knows is what Newt Gingrich told him. His own party, and Mr. Sweater there from, you remember him? The choir boy from Pennsylvania, Santorium? Rick Santorium, where'd he ever go? How'd that work out for him? Ripping Romney to shreds. Then you had the guy from the foreign planet there, Ron Paul. I know many of you want to, love him, because he was against Israel and against the Federal Reserve, so I lost listeners right then and there. But to me, this guy was wackadoodle. Wow. Like a cheese doodle. Where is he today? Let's take some calls on the Savage Nation. Tom on KSFO, San Francisco. How do you feel right now? Go ahead. You're on the Savage Nation.
Michael, I wanted to know if you'd like to get together with some people and move to a different planet.
Well, I thought about that when I saw it on the screen. And I thought it was a funny question. And my answer was very simple. Not really. I like my bed. And if you could show me another planet, that has toy poodles and cars driving around with owners smiling, I would consider it. But I think this planet's quite good. I was on the highway today, Tom, riding in my car with my dog Teddy, and I saw a smiling woman in another car, and she had a black toy poodle who was sitting in her lap driving the car. He was smiling. He had his hands on the wheel. I said, this is a good country. It's a good nation. If toy poodles can be so happy, I don't want to leave it so fast.
Yeah, our pets do make a difference, don't they?
So what, you actually really want to go to Hale-Bopp with the people with the Kool-Aid from San Diego and leave your body behind with shoes, swollen legs?
No, I'm just being silly.
I know. We're all like the bloated bodies they left behind. Remember the Hale-Bopp people? They also wanted to go to another planet. What a country. What a country of idiots, my God. How can they vote for this fraud? I'm shocked. I am shocked what he got away with. Shocked. You got to hand it to Axelrod, Obama's brain. The guy's a genius. Red Bluff, California. Stephanie, you're on the Savage Nation. How do you feel right now, seeing what's going on?
Absolutely devastated, and I do see Obama pulling this off, and I do predict in 1 to 2 years there's going to be a very serious civil uprising in this country after he imposes more taxes on the middle class. And he's going to keep lowering that 250 to 200 to 175 because he'll say there's more poor people.
That's right. Then the rich will be those who make 100,000 or more. They'll be the targeted group.
This country is going to, I believe, split apart in maybe 3 parts. And I'll tell you right now, I was saying this for weeks. He is going to steal this election with the illegal immigrant vote because they don't have to show ID, and to all the Republicans...
Well, that's right. What do you think? You're living in America where you have to show you're a citizen? That would be considered racist to Axelrod and Obama.
Obama, he finishes 4 years from now, forget it. The next 20 years, there's not going to be another Republican in the White House.
If the Fugazi wins, it looks very bad like he might tonight, there's nothing to stop him and the illegitimi from eliminating term limits. This man can be president for the next 14, 20 years.
Well, it's going to be that these legal and illegal immigrants are going to grow by the millions in this country. Conservatives will not have another person in the White House for at least 20 years, and by then we will be down the toilet like socialist France. And let me
I totally agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. And remember what Obama's spiritual advisor, Reverend Wright, said. He said, "God damn America." And don't think that didn't go into those suggestive ears of Barack Obama. He didn't say God bless America. He sat and listened to it for 20 years. So get out the hemlock, Socrates. Let's take the next caller from Corpus Christi, Texas. Mitchell, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
Go ahead, please. You're on the air.
Well, I've got a small company, 22 folks, and the fact of the matter is that if it's going the way it's going, which looks like it's going, I'm going to have to let off 7 people because I work
understand that to Obama, you're an evil capitalist who actually employs people, so that means you exploit them. And so therefore, to Obama, you should probably be arrested for even owning a company because he created your business. You didn't create it.
That's what he says, but I've been doing it for 30 years, and I did it from scratch.
Well, no, him and Jesse Jackson created your company, not you. You had no. So therefore, if they take it away from you, it's their right to do so. That's the way to look at it. Well, it looks like CNN is predicting that Obama's going to win. CNN projects that the Democrats will retain a majority in the U.S. Senate. That'll give Dianne Feinstein, the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, and her really patriotic husband, Mr. Blum, the ability to continue to steer contracts from the U.S. Senate right into his hands. That's what some say. I don't know whether it's true. Just because he was a war profiteer to some, and just because Dianne Feinstein steered contracts into her husband's companies, Peroni Contracting, doesn't mean it's true. Some wrote that. You can't prove it. How could you prove it since there's no investigation? How could there be an investigation since they control the committees? So get ready for a really beautiful ride. Get ready for a really beautiful ride. And get ready to watch Michelle Obama take off in Air Force Two in about, well, I would say 36 hours before she's on another junket. I'll be right back.